Welcome back to another episode of the Pax What She Said podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Maggie Loney, joined not by Perry Goldstein, not who you were expecting, probably to
Sorry.
see sitting next to me, but it is the incredible Dusty Evely. Dusty, it has been far too long. Perry is out sick, and you valiantly offered to join me to talk about a game that we'll get into. We'll see if it's going to be interesting. Hopefully, it's a good game. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me. Like you said, it's been far too long. I was trying to figure out the last time I talked to you on. I think it was last off season. I think so. It's been a minute. We've not been to a game together in a couple of years, which is very sad. But yeah, I'm thrilled to be here. Always happy. Like it's gonna say always good to talk ball with you. It's just good to talk to you, Maggie, and I'm also glad that we're talking ball.
I agree. It's been far too long, and I'm sad that we're not going to be at the same game this year. But I had
Yeah.
to jump on the 1 noon game that the Packers were given this year to make it back in time for baby bedtime. But you seemingly will have a good game. I've got the Panthers. You potentially are looking at the Bears game. It's always fun at Lambeau to go to Bears games. I mean,
It should be fun. Yeah, we try to hit it in December. It's a weird schedule this year. It's such a weird back end of the schedule anyway. And then I go with my brothers and weird schedules. So we're like, I think we can hit this one. So we're like, I think we're 80% sure. I'm the last Bears game we went to, Trubisky was starting. So I'm excited about this one.
I'm trying to think of the last Bears game I went to. It probably would have been 2019. Maybe.
That may have been it for us as well. I think
Okay.
that was. I think actually we saw you before that game. I think we were at Corey's house. I think
Okay.
I saw you before that game. And I remember the first play of that game. I was looking at the Packer safeties, and I was like, their deepest safety is 10 yards deep. Like this is how they're playing Trubisky. So yeah, it's been a minute, man. It's been a minute.
Yeah. My how the teams have changed. But let's dive in. We have Packers obviously after their bye week hosting the Cincinnati Bengals. Just a little bit of news dropped this week for the Bengals, right? We have Joe Flacco, familiar face, just saw him in week 3, starting as the Bengals quarterback, traded for what was it? Joe Flacco and a 6th for a 5th round pick. Cleveland just wheeling and dealing. they got Greg Newsome on deck as well, shipped him off to Jacksonville. You're good.
Yeah, no, it's man, the Newsome one kind of I really want Newsome in Green Bay, so that one kind of stings. The Flacco one is I'm unclear. I'm unclear what the thought was there. Like my initial thought was probably the same as everyone else's. Like maybe they felt like they needed like an adult in the building where they needed like we need a grown up doing this. Because Browning had been there for what 2 years, I think. This is his second year. He started a little bit last year as well.
I think so.
We need someone who can like run this offense. Browning wasn't doing a good job. If you look, I don't know if you did this, Maggie. I looked at I went on Next Gen, which the NFL Next Gen stuff, the stats in there, the past 2 years has been incredible. Yeah. And they've got like the EPA per play, and you can do all the splits and all that stuff. The vast majority, if you look at quarterbacks throughout this season, it's like no matter which way you split it, if you want to look at like throws under 2.5 seconds, throws over 2.5 seconds, deep throws, short throws, any way you split it, the 2 worst quarterbacks in the league this year have been Browning and Flacco. Like right next to each other. I think like under 2 seconds, like quick throws. So it's like go balls and like the short game stuff. I think Flacco was the worst and Browning was like slightly better than the worst. Like they're not. I think the idea of Flacco in terms of like you see this occasionally where it's like we need someone who knows how to run the offense. That's like they know what they're doing. They're competent. They can keep the stuff on the rails. That's not Flacco. That's not been Flacco this year. Even like that, I went back and rewatched that Browns game because in my head, I don't remember Flacco from the Browns game. I remember all the Packers did bad. And so I rewatched it and I was like, boy, he was really bad in this game. Like he had a couple times. I will say the thing about Flacco, like his deep numbers are bad, but some of those like Judy just flat out dropped the ball throughout the season. And so like he'll put it up to guys, but Browning also put it up to guys. Like this almost felt like we need to make a change because the team's gonna open revolt on us. But they got worse, I think. I don't think they got any better because Flacco can't even move. Browning can at least like move around a little.
Yeah, and I think that's what's so interesting is the narrative going into the Cleveland game. I know that all of us had I truthfully don't know what you picked as your score prediction, but most of what I listened
to, it was too high,
it was going to be not a blowout, but like a very comfortable win for the Packers, assuming that defense didn't wreak havoc, and they absolutely did that. Obviously, there's not that same issue with the Cincinnati Bengals, right? And I think one of the factors was also, can this Browns offensive line protect Joe Flacco enough to find his weapons? There's like very different offenses that we're seeing, right? Joe Flacco didn't have any weapons in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Obviously, Jerry Jeudy, and he's got a good run game there, but decent offensive line that was banged up. Comes to Cincy, has arguably one of the best wide receiving tandems in the league, but a much, much worse offensive line.
Hmm.
No defense to help them out at all outside of like Trey Hendrickson, right? So just a completely different style for this offense. If he has time to find Chase and Higgins, like, could get kind of scary for the Packers corners. But if he's under pressure at all, which you would expect him to be behind this Bengals O line, yikes.
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, and that's what I was kind of looking at. So there's like the deep ball stuff with Flacco. Like I said, I think he was like 3 of 13 on deep balls this year, like throws over 20 yards. And then 3 other ones were dropped. And so like that's not bad. You're shooting slightly under 50% on those. Like that's all right. Like if those end up hitting. And so you could see, I think, a handful of those hit in this game. Like I wouldn't be shocked to see like Jamar Chase is going to come down with an insane throw up the sideline. Like it's not going to hit him in stride. I can tell you that right now. But like he's going to hit him up the sideline. He's going to go back shoulder on him. Like T. Higgins will get his chances. Like provided those wide receivers are not in open revolt during the game, like they'll catch a couple of those. But like you can't make an offense out of that. And the way the weird thing about this Bengals offense is just like they do what Joe Burrow wants to do. That this whole offense has been built around like, what do you want to do, Joe? And then Burrow's not there. So it's so much like spread shotgun stuff. And like Browning comes from that world, and Flacco can like somewhat operate in that world. He did that a little bit last year with the Colts when he was with the Colts. But like he's not that dude anymore. So you'll get some big throws. You'll get a couple big plays. Like I wouldn't be shocked if he comes out of this and the numbers are like, well, he completed around 50% of his passes, but he had like good yardage and hit some explosives. He can't operate like a functional down to down offense. Like Browning couldn't either, but Flacco also cannot. And there's throws, dude. Watching that Browns game, the smallest amount of pressure. His arm, you have no idea what his arm's doing. It's flinging out, and the ball's just like, there's balls going over dudes' heads. There's one that was not within 10 yards of someone that was like, I don't think there was that Dak one that was like, well, that was intentional grounding. It wasn't called. Flacco's legitimately trying to throw to guys. He just like, he panics because he's like 40 years old and like someone's trying to kill him. So I think the pressure's going to get him. He will still get. He had one play against the Packers where he stepped into the pocket against pressure. And I was like, ooh, that was nice. And that was it. So he'll hit some big plays, but like down to down operation, dude, like it's not going to be good. And like you said, defensively, they got Hendrickson. That Lions game was 14-3 at the half. And that was partially because Trey Hendrickson won a couple. He got a sack fumble against Goff. So like he can do some of that stuff. Osai will won a game with speed off the edge. There's no one else. I mean, they're playing Slayton a bunch, and we know about Slayton, and like he'll hold the line, but that's it. The linebackers are terrible. The safeties are triggering very strangely. They're going real slow when they don't blitz. I think they don't pressure, they don't blitz, and they don't disguise. And they don't have guys that went up front. Like it is such a bad like structural defense to watch, and then the talent on it just isn't good. So Hendrickson's gonna get a couple. This is free rushes. Guys are on the edge, especially we don't know what's going on with Walker. What's going on with Walker? He didn't practice, did he? He
didn't practice, no.
Yeah. He'll get some runs. Like Hendrickson will get some runs, and Osai will get one win. Aside from that, like you're banking on a big play defense and a big play offense, and occasionally you'll run into a win there. But like, dude, you got to squint real hard to see how the Bengals like operate in this game.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. I'm glad you brought up the offensive line because that's where I wanted to go next. Mina Kimes on our show last week asked us what the thought was for this Packers line and would they be healthy for Cincy. And I said I thought by that point that they would have enough time to heal. Obviously, we know how that experiment worked in Cleveland, right? Zach Tom should not have played a snap, too early, too soon to come back, needed some more time to heal. Aaron Banks looks like he is back. Left that game as well with a different injury, but now is recovering. And now Rasheed Walker is not playing or potentially not playing. So you've got Rasheed Walker is injured in some capacity. And then you've got maybe your left guard coming back. Elton Jenkins, of course, reliable. Sean Ryan, healthy. Zach Tom potentially coming back. But then what happens, right? Is Jordan Morgan out at left tackle now? Is that your fill-in? Anthony Belton's still a DNP. So he probably is not going to suit up this week. But Jordan Morgan is still listed as like on the injury report, even though he was a full participant. So
Yeah.
he's not at full strength, even being healthy. Like just a really weird vibe for this Packers offensive line, but potentially getting some guy. Like if you get Zach Tom back, I think that mitigates a lot of issues.
Yeah, because there's question marks at well, I mean, like I guess not both tackle spots. I'm not the biggest Rasheed Walker guy, and he'll blow a couple, but like for the most part, he's reliable. But Tom's your rock. And
Mhm.
then so if he's not there, and I thought Kennard played fine like
Yeah.
when he was in, but
Mhm.
that is a like, all right, everyone's getting healthy, and like where'd the Rasheed Walker thing come from, man? Like, I mean, the hope since he got drafted was that he was going to take that left tackle job. And so
Yeah.
like he seems just his build, his footwork, all that stuff, he seems better suited for left tackle than he does for a guard position. Like he's not a huge people mover, but he's got good feet. So the hope, my dream, Maggie, as all of our dreams, is that he takes the left tackle job and like he's just good, and then that's his job going forward. Like
Yeah.
that would be awesome. Outside of like half a preseason game, I don't know if we've seen the consistency there, but that seems like probably the answer, unless I don't know how Kennard looks at left tackle. Like I said, he did a fine job at right tackle, but if Tom's healthy and Walker can't go, that'll be interesting to see. Like, what do they think between Kennard and Morgan? I think they want Morgan to do it, but they bounce Morgan around so much, man. Like, I don't even know where they prefer him at this point. He's played everywhere.
Do you think there's a world where they move Zach Tom?
I think they need to have conversations about it. I think I talked about that this past offseason, that like if they do think that was the Jenkins back injury,
Yeah.
if they, and that was a big, like if they think that Morgan or Belton, because Belton was like all offseason was only right tackle, they didn't put him
Right.
anywhere else.
Yeah.
If they felt someone was a good enough right tackle, like not even have to be like Zach Tom level, just competent, good. And if Jenkins wasn't back, or if Jenkins was struggling at center, and I think, all right, dude, like we paid you as a right tackle, we're sliding you into center for a season. I don't know if he'd balk at that. I have no idea, like as far as like the personality stuff that goes on there. That's a different conversation. But like I think I will say that's probably conversations they've had in the building, is like,
Yeah.
because Jenkins has been inconsistent. He's not been all good, he's not been all bad. He's been inconsistent. If they've always talked about Tom, what, Hall of Fame center, I think was their
Right.
words, and they
All
tend to
pro
gas
or
guys
something.
up a
Yeah.
little bit. We'll see. But I think they had to at least have those conversations. Like there's a world where that happens. I don't think it does, but I think there is some different vast alternate reality where Tom is center this week, honestly.
I was even thinking left tackle, like just move Zach Tom to left tackle. And if Kennard is comfortable playing right tackle, I don't know, maybe Zach Tom becomes your franchise left tackle and, asks for a couple mil
Give me
more
more money.
because
Yeah, give me a bump, dude.
he is shifting into a different role. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that looks like. The hope, obviously, for drafting guys like Jordan Morgan and Anthony Belton is that they can be those guys. And Anthony Belton had some struggles. I think his struggles, honestly, though, have been more mental than physical, right? It's been like
Yeah.
the pre-snap penalties and the misalignments, not necessarily his skill set. I thought that he's played well. It's just kind of the back 'em up penalties that
Yeah.
sour, his rookie season. But
Yeah, he
let's talk.
gets a little grabby sometimes, but I think he's performed well when they're able to get the snap off.
This game is so weird, right? Because it's an uncommon opponent, so you don't see them frequently, and that's what made the Cleveland game so weird. But we've kind of touched on it. The Packers offense, they're still first in the league in third downs, right? They're seventh in red zone offense. Just a really explosive offense. I know that the Cowboys game was wonky in terms of just nobody
Yeah.
expected it to be a kind of shootout that it was, but the offense can put up a ton of points, and we expect them to put up a ton of points against the Cincinnati defense. So I guess let's pivot and say if the Bengals are going to keep this close, or if the Packers.
You froze on me. I don't know if that was me or you. I'm sorry, Maggie.
No, it's okay.
I did not hear that. I did not hear the end of that question. I apologize.
No, you're all good. The question was if the Packers are going to let the Bengals hang around in this, where are the areas of concern?
The line, and like I said, Hendrickson had like I think 2 sacks at Goff. One was a sack fumble. One legitimately could have been a fumble. I think one was a sack fumble inside the 25 or something like that, inside the opposing 25. So the Bengals didn't do anything with it because that offense is terrible. But like the Hendrickson can get around the edge. If he wins a couple and you don't see him coming, you can get a sack fumble. Like turnovers can change the game. So there's those. I'm not really scared of anyone else on the defense. Like I said, Osai can win one with speed, and so that's something you can do. But like, there's not really anyone else that scares me. It is just if and I don't think they're going to dominate the line. That's the thing. They're not going to dominate the line. But if Hendrickson blows it up enough where you feel like we've got to like kind of shift what we're doing, shift what we're running, all that stuff, and you can't get the running game going against this, and it's just sheer passing. I mean, I really like Love, but that can be, as we've seen with these receivers, can be a little volatile with like
Mhm.
the hands, with the routes. Someone runs the wrong route, and then Love hangs on the ball a little bit more and takes a sack on 3rd and 5, something like that. Like, I think it sounds really dumb to say. I think if the pack to this to be close, the Packers got to beat themselves in like a handful of different ways. It's got to be 4 clean wins from Hendrickson, 4 clean runs at Love from Hendrickson or someone else, Asai winning 1 or 2 off the edge, and then drop passes. Like aside from that, man, it's real hard to see. Like the Bengals, this is one of those. I think I can't remember what game it was last year. I think it was the Saints last year when like going into it, and it was like the Packers are so much better than this team, like inside and out. But part of you still was scared at how confident you felt about it because they didn't look like a functional team. And then you got to the game like, oh, the Saints aren't a functional team. Like the Packers should, at all levels, should be better than them. But if it's close from the offensive side, I think that line starts just turnovers, pressure, Love gets antsy, drop passes like that. I think that's where it can go. And then they start getting a little tight off of that, then that can kind of like roll down on you.
Yeah, I think the turnovers would be significant too. The same kind of the mental miscues that we saw in Cleveland, right? Where it's too close for comfort and you're looking to make a
Yeah.
play happen and it's something silly like taking a sack or a turnover that just, should not have happened, trying to force throws and giving them easy opportunities to kind of hang around. I do want your thoughts on this. Let's talk Brandon McManus, right? Cropped up on the injury report.
Gracious.
Seems like his status for Sunday is now in question. He was limited in practice. He got hurt Wednesday, it sounds like. So practiced Wednesday, got hurt in Wednesday's practice. I know he did take a shot in the Dallas game, but Matt LaFleur kind of said, no, this happened in practice. So it is Thursday night as we record this, limited both days. The Packers have been working out kickers, including former Packers kicker Greg Joseph. What do you think? I mean, uh, does this make Matt LaFleur a more aggressive head coach when he gets into 4th and short opportunities or, maybe in the red zone to go for it instead of try to kick field goals or
That's the dream. I mean, there was, I don't know if you remember, I can't remember what the year this was. It was Greatest Show on Turf Rams. And there was, you see my son behind me hanging out. Um, there was a game where the kicker got injured like midway through the first, and they just didn't kick a field goal. They didn't kick an extra point for the whole game, just because someone did it this past week actually as well. I can't remember who it was. The kicker got injured. It was just we're going for 2 every single time
yeah.
because they had to. They weren't kicking field goals. I think that should be. That's my fear is with a guy like Greg Joseph. If it's and I mean, I will say McManus said like I'm good to go. I don't know where like I have not talked to LaFleur. I'll be good to go. I don't trust players when they say stuff like that. So like I don't know who to trust, but I certainly don't trust McManus talking about his own status here. I think they should. If it's a guy like Joseph, that scares me a little bit, just because that I can see like, well, he's a vet. We had him in. We know what we have with him. I do very much want this. It's 4th and 2, and we're at the 32, and we don't trust our kicker. Just go, and then that potentially opens up kind of that aggressive mindset that they had for a bit and kind of lost a bit last year. That's the exact way I would go. Whether that's how he'll go or not, I don't know, but that should open the door for that. I think at the very least, that needs to be a conversation. Like we're not like, oh, we're. I mean, they trusted Braden Arvison for too long, so like, I don't know. I think Rich Bisaccia's got too much influence in that building, so maybe that colors it a bit. But that's kind of where I'm sitting. Like, they should, but I don't think it will change how they approach that.
So I'm curious your thoughts on this, kind of expanding on the Brandon McManus conversation. But when we had Mina on, she was genuinely surprised that Matt LaFleur is kind of a polarizing figure for Packers
Yeah.
fans, like which I agree with. I I'm probably higher on Matt LaFleur than most, just based on reactions that I've seen from the internet, social media, other
Yeah.
podcasts and things. But it seems like he has much more respect around national circuits than maybe Packers fans give him credit for. And I don't know if that's because we're too close to the situation, right? And we are too invested from the heart and not thinking rationally with our minds all the time. But where do you stand on Matt LaFleur? I think everybody's in agreement, right, that he can be too conservative. The Shanahan tree tends to lean that way in general, but is his seat even remotely hot in your opinion?
Man, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. I mean, it is interesting. Like you said, the national, because I listen to a lot of different national podcasts, and then I watch a lot of football around the league. I think the main problem is that people don't watch enough football around the league to see just how many like bonehead decision coaches make. Like, this is not like LaFleur bungled the clock. Brother, did you see Jonathan Gannon this past week? Like, are you seeing Brian Callahan on a week to, and those are like, I think Gannon's a fine coach. I think Callahan might be the worst coach in the league. So like that's part of it. But I mean, I think part of it is, like you said, I think we're a little too close to it. But I also think I don't know that enough people are watching football games outside of like the Monday night, Sunday night game and actually like paying attention to the coaching decisions. Like they're just every coach. I think where I come down is every coach has flaws. And I think some of LaFleur's flaws are a little baffling because he has shown the aggressiveness before. I mean, when he came into Green Bay, that was the big thing is like all the guys, like that McVay Shanahan stuff, those guys, great schemers, like good culture guys, but they were really bad with time management and they were really bad with fourth down decision making, like to a T. Every single one of those guys was. And LaFleur bucked that trend. Like he was different than those guys because at 4th and 2 and plus territory, he was going for it where Shanahan was consistently punting. Like that's, and then for some reason, I've got my theories, my anti-Rich Bisaccia agenda, that changed in the past couple of years. The time management stuff was baffling. Like I don't have an excuse for that, and he will do that occasionally. I think I've talked about this a handful of times. I think he just, this might be giving him too much credit. I think he needs to be dumber. I think he goes through too many things in his mind where he just, and he kind of talked about it a little bit afterwards too, but it's like, it just seems like he's, that overtime is we go for a touchdown. Like if you're a big rock-headed football coach, we score a touchdown. We're going for a touchdown. We go for a win. Like LaFleur is, well, we want to get the touchdown, but if we don't get the touchdown, we get the field goal. Then it's tied. Then they get a chance to win, and they got a good kicker. So we want to get a touchdown, but we also don't want to give them time in case we don't. So he's like, it's galaxy brain to like the nth degree because he's thinking through all this stuff. I just think he needs to like take an approach and win or lose, you go for that. Like I don't like not necessarily emotion, but this is what we do. This is who we are. If we are down 3 in overtime and we're at the 30, we're going for the touchdown. I don't care how much time's left. We're going for the touchdown. If we fail, we fail. But our defense has not been good, and the offense has been rolling, and we're putting it on this offense to win. Like I think that's where he needs to be. And for some reason, he got away from that. And again, I think some of that is, I think some of it's Bisaccia. I think some of it is he's thinking through. I think he's thinking through too many scenarios instead of just the one scenario that just be, if we get a touchdown, we win this. So let's win this. Like I think that's the thing. But I mean, those small issues aside, I think tremendous head coach. Like I think he's so good with the media. It seems like the players like him. Great play caller, like tremendous play caller, great schemer. The stuff he did last year when Willis came in, like coaches don't do that. That's not
Right.
like, very rare to see a coach change his system for 2 games. Like that doesn't happen. That shouldn't happen. Like stuff like that, a lot of coaches can't do. So I think there are flaws with LaFleur as there are with everyone. In no way, and I cannot imagine a world, and right now where the Packers sit, that LaFleur is on the hot seat and or even remotely warm seat. And if they blow out the Bengals this week, we're not having this conversation again.
Right. Nobody's talking about it. And even if there's conservative play calling, right, and they're settling for field goals like against this Bengals defense, like the only way that the seat even feels remotely like lukewarm, I think, is just to come out and watch this Packers team just aggressively beat themselves, right? Like, all of the same coachable mistakes that we see time and time again. But I don't expect that to happen, right?
No.
Let's wrap here talking about final score predictions. And I don't know if you want to give out like a game ball, a player of the game. I have to toot my horn because on the Pack a Day pregame show before the Cowboys game, I said that Romeo Doubs was going to get 2 touchdowns. Now I underpredicted.
So you're conservative, Maggie, taking cues from LaFleur, a little too conservative there.
But yeah, let's do final score, and if there's anybody that you have your eye on, defense, offense, just a player to watch.
All right, let's do, man. So I've been predicting Packers are going to win by 20 like the past like 3 games, and they have not done that. I think the Packers are going to win by 20. Man, I think the Bengals could get a touchdown or a field goal late. I don't think it's likely they do. I'm going to go, give me Packers 38-17. Like I don't think this is going to feel close. I may feel real dumb about this in a few days, but that's where I'm sitting. My game ball, Man, give me Tucker Kraft. I know he's already had like one huge game. This Bengals defense, man, like, so I got the stat pulled up, Maggie. Let me see if I can find it. They have, this was after week 4, so all teams have played 4 games. There's no 5 games here. Bengals had given up. The Bengals defense allowed 878 yards in yak, the most in the league. Highest number, 878 yards in yak through 4 games. Their yak over expected next gen tracks 209. So that's like player positioning, all that stuff. So they've given up 209 more yards over expected in yak for their first 4 games. The next lowest team, they were worse in the league by 65 yards over expected to the Jets, who like don't even want to play defense this year. Like, this seems like you can attack this defense by going, it's like go deep or check down. Like that, it's going to be a very vertical offense. And Tucker Kraft's going to be chipping and releasing. Like, he's going to have his chances up the seam. You're also just going to see Tucker Kraft in the flat with no one in front of him, and he's going to get 20 yards. Like, I think what we're going to look back on, I wish it was going to be Matthew Golden. I hope it's Matthew Golden is going to be it. But I think when we look back at this game, we'd be like, oh yeah, Tucker Kraft like ripped a man's face mask off like multiple times. Like, I think that's what the lasting image of this game.
His threats that he's going to burn down people's childhood homes as he's like trotting down the middle of the field. Yeah, I think that's a great pick. I'm going to say defensively, let's say like Keyshawn Nixon. I think that he's just due for a swagger kind of game. There's been opportunities, I think, that this secondary has gotten kind of lucky against, like Amon-Ra was open quite a bit week 1, and just the pressure really got home enough to give them opportunities. And that, I think, was the detriment of the Dallas game, was Micah Parsons just needed like another half second. So she talked about it with Dominique Foxworthy on her podcast. Just letting these corners be a little bit more aggressive, a little more press man, get in people's faces by Micah that extra half second that he needs, and terrorize poor Joe Flacco enough. And I don't think it's close either. I had 35-17 in my head, but I was afraid to pick it because that's what I picked for the Browns game. And I just like maybe still have. You
see Joe Flacco and you just got like, no, that same number rolls through your head.
And I really appreciated your son being in the back, because you can't see your son from where you are sitting. It just looks like the Invisible Man in a rocking chair, which is a good vibe.
I'm checking, make sure. No, he is there. Okay, thank God. Yeah, there's someone in that chair.
I found out on Packs with Pizza that my house is haunted, but
appreciate you, Maggie. Thanks for pointing that out.
But awesome, Dusty. Please tell everybody where they can follow your work if they don't already. I'm sure they do, but just in case.
All my stuff, most of my stuff, I guess, Acme Packing Company. So I've got something up now on Joe Flacco where I looked at the numbers in the film and like it's all terrible. So that was fun. I had watched a bunch of film on Jake Browning and Brett Rippon. I was like, I'm ready now. I was not. So I got takes on those guys too. So Acme Packing Company is where I am. Probably got one more piece going up today, tomorrow. I'm not sure when. And then I'm just mostly at Blue Sky. Dusty Evely at whatever it is, bsky.social, whatever that extension is. So that's where I'm throwing up everything I'm doing.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me. You can find us at PWSS Podcast or at Packs That She Said. Like and subscribe to the show if you don't already. Share it with your friends. We always appreciate it. Perry is out on Sunday. She has a wedding, and then I will also have a wedding during the Cardinals game. So we really just need the people in our lives to stop getting married on Sundays during football season. But I don't know who my co-host will be on Sunday. Maybe Dusty, but just kidding. But we'll be back Sunday night to recap, hopefully a very dominant, enjoyable win. Get them back in the win column, because ties are lame and losses are also lame, and we don't want to talk about those. You can find me at Maggie J. Loney. Thank you, Dusty, and thank you as always for listening. Go Pack Go.
Go Pack Go.